Hello, everyone. We have Mr. Mudit Khanna with us, another gem in our collection. Mr. Mudit scored listening 9, reading 9, writing 6, and speaking 7.5, an overall score of an impressive 8 bands. His requirement is 6 each and overall 6.5, which means he overshot his requirement. Let us talk to Mudit and learn something from him. Over to Mudit. Mudit, tell us something about yourself.
I'm a software engineer. I work in a French MNC named Capgemini since 2 years. When it comes to my education, I have a degree of a Bachelor's of Computer Application. I'm from Amritsar only. So right now, I thought that I know a little less than what is demanded by the organizations all around the world. So I just thought of preparing myself to for the IELTS so that I can go for my post graduation from Canada so I can enhance my skills and get into the tech giants that I'm very enthusiastic about.
Mudit, to get a perfect score of listening 9 and reading 9, you require an acute amount of concentration and focus level. Tell us, how did you groom up this level?
Well, firstly, to be honest, I was not very confident with reading because I used to get very less mark in mock tests. So I thought that I have to put my heart inside this and do it very well because when I score better and good in other components, I don't want to lose marks in reading and so that my overall score is very bad. So when it comes to concentration, it is very necessary in both the modules, the listening and the reading, because the moment you lose your concentration, you lose all of your marks that are of the questions that are ahead of that question. So I just solely tried to get pure concentration and confidence in reading and listening test by practicing it more and more. So yeah, I guess concentration is the main key to success in listening as well as the reading component.
What tips would you give our candidates who are preparing for this exam for listening?
Well, I think if a candidate thinks that he can excel in reading and listening by just practicing one reading a day, then I must say that is absolutely impossible. One reading a day cannot do good to you unless it's very necessary for us to do it like twice a day or thrice a day. What I used to do was that when we go to the center, we get one reading to do in front of the teachers, and then we used to get one reading to do at home. So what I used to do was I used to do both of those readings as well as I used to open the booklet that are provided to us when we join the IELTS. So I actually by the date of my examination, I completed the whole of the booklet that was provided to me.
Okay. That means you were doing 2 or 3 readings per day.
Yes,
That's
that's very must.
that's absolutely phenomenal. So, what are your tips of writing and speaking?
In writing, I can say that you have to write down whatever you want to express. Good vocabulary is definitely one of the biggest things that you should use. So for improving my vocabulary, what I did was installed some applications from Play Store that would suggest me an idiom a day in the morning when I was in the class. So I used to read it. I used to remember it. Some of the idioms that were commonly used, I used to bookmark them so that I can read them again and again and remember them. One more thing, what I did was, in order to remember the idioms, I started using them in my speaking also. Whenever I used to give my speaking test in front of the teachers, I used to use those idioms. And when it comes to speaking separately, I think the person has to be very expressive so that the invigilator is able to connect with the person. Vocabulary is one thing, but unless you're able to express what you're trying to say, that brings it to another level.
Let us talk about individual question types now. Tell us something about multiple choice questions in listening. What is your golden tip for that?
Well, multiple choice questions are the trickiest part because once they start speaking, you think every answer is correct. So what I tried to do was I started to negate the answers. The moment the person used to say something opposite to that choice, I used to cross it down, and by the end of the time, the one that is left, I used to take it.
And what about reading headings?
Well, reading heading was another thing that I was very poor at. I used to almost not score anything in that question part. But what I used to do was read the whole paragraph and go to the question page and read that particular heading. Then come back to the passage and read that paragraph again. If it has that particular thing that it sums up, it has that summary of that heading, then go with it. Or otherwise, just because we know the heading that we are searching for, go on to the next paragraph, read it. Maybe it might be having that thing in it.
Was true false not given a pain for you?
Very much. The false and the not given are the two things the person is not able to decide. So I took the some of the tips from the teachers in Webberz. They used to teach us how to differentiate between false and not given, because that is one of the things that every person is very afraid of. They definitely take the false instead of not given and not given instead of false. So I took special care about that.
How do you differentiate no from not given?
Well, we can explain it with an instance or an example. Like in the passage, they're talking about females, and the question is about a male. So people think that it has to be false because they are talking about the opposite gender, but instead it has to be not given because they have not given us anything regarding that opposite gender. So that is one of the things through which I remember how to differentiate between false and not given.
And tell us something about your essay writing technique.
Essay writing technique, I think many people know how to write. They know how to put their ideas, but in IELTS, what is necessary is the format. You have to follow that format and pen down your ideas according to that. Whatever is apt for thesis has to go in thesis. Whatever is apt for advantages or disadvantages has to go in that paragraph. You don't have to jumble the things and shuffle things and make the invigilator confused. So prepare it in a format, pen down your ideas, especially I noted one thing in the master classes. We were told that we should, whenever we read the question, we should pen down some of the vocabulary that we are about to use in the essay. So I did it in my examination. I firstly read the question. I wrote down the vocabulary that I have to use in the question, in the answer, and I make sure that I use all of those words in the essay.
So let's talk about the cue card now. That is the part 2 of speaking.
Okay.
Trickiest
Yes.
part in speaking.
Yes, definitely. Well, cue card is something where the person can end up his ideas just because they give us 2 minutes, and um, a person might end up his ideas in less than 2 minutes. So that is something where the person gets confused because the invigilator has not asked us to stop and we don't have any idea in our mind. So how do we elaborate the thing? In case we start to repeat the things, then it gets something on the negative side because we might lose marks for the same ideas, repetition of ideas. So I think that is where you should keep on elongating the things and try to go deeper and deeper into the explanation. Like in my case, I got a cue card where I was asked to tell about a person whom I think has the leadership skills amongst my friends, and why do people give him the particular responsibility. So in my case also, I stopped a little bit at the before 2 minutes, but I knew that the question about that the time has not ended. So I just kept on elongating things. I created another story that was similar to that and just kept on speaking unless he asked me to stop.
Great. Mudit, let's talk about you now. What are your future plans now for your job?
Well, Um, well, since I'm a BCA graduate and I want to learn more, I'm a tech freak. I have a lot of love for programming. So I want to excel in the same field. I want to learn new programming things, new languages, new frameworks. And one of the things that fascinates me to learn all those things are the tech giants and the big guns like Google, Amazon, and for now what I can do is I think is I can study a little bit more so that I'm competitive enough to again for the people who are coming to those companies, so that I have a say. I have my own representation in those companies' interviews. So that's why I decided to do my PG diploma for Canada from Canada.
Wonderful. We wish you all the best for future aspirations. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.